Take a look at the people you come in contact with in your day-to-day life. And I'm not just talking about your friends. I'm talking about your coworkers, the community that you come in contact with, um, the people at the coffee shop, even your online friends. If they all look like you, sound like you, um, think the same things you think, then that means that you've painted yourself into a corner. And in finance, we talk a lot about diversifying. And the reason diversifying is important is it creates safety in your investments, because if one sector goes down, the other one either goes up or remains level. And so it kind of evens out the waves and tumultuousness of natural cycles. This is important when it comes to your connections with the people in your life as well. And they don't all need to be friends, but it's important to just have different voices. For example, for me, um, the one of the more prominent voices in my life right now is those of the Islamic community. Um, I work in a predominantly low income neighborhood, and there's a lot of refugees there. And so I talk to them a lot. And for one, they really appreciate that someone who looks like me is interested. Um, but it's also, it allows me to understand their experiences and their culture. You know, like if you think about manners, for example, um, what is considered good manners to me might be inappropriate for them. For example, Muslim men typically are not supposed to touch a woman who is not a member of their family. So, me extending my hand for a handshake, if he doesn't take it, I might consider that rude if I wasn't aware of it. Instead, if I see a gentleman, I just put my hand on my chest and say, "It's so great to meet you." Or I might tentatively be like, "Is the handshake okay?" And then they can decline or say yes. Because some of them like some of our culture and traditions, some of them don't, and that's okay too. Um, and it also allows me to understand some of the features of their religion and celebrations that I think are so delightful. For example, Eid. So after Ramadan, there's more than one Ramadan, but the main one, where they spend almost 40 days fasting, where they don't eat or even drink water during daylight hours. They have to wait until either before sunrise or after sundown. And so at the end of that, they have a celebration, and it's called Eid, E-I-D. And it's like Christmas and Thanksgiving combined. And it's their whole community, food, presents, celebration, joyous. They take days off of work, they take days off of school, that type of thing. And it's sounds incredible, you know, like a lot of families will bring me some of the food, and they're so happy to celebrate, they're so happy to share, because it's meant to be an opportunity to rejoice in the things that you've been given, in the things that are just naturally around you. And so I think that's lovely, and I think that's a nice way to look at the gifts of life that you're given. Um, and so it's important to understand different cultures. It's important to understand different communities. For example, in Black communities, there's things that you need to understand. Like, if my son is hanging out with a person of color, he needs to understand that there's certain things, especially as he becomes a teenager and they're out doing who knows what, there's certain things that he needs to be aware that he has to keep somebody else safe, because there's biases that exist against that person because of their skin color. Where, you know, if my son might get caught trespassing on somebody's property, it's no big deal. They just say, "Don't do that again." But if it's somebody else, especially if they got a hoodie on, that can be serious consequences. And so you have to be aware enough of that so that you don't get your friends in trouble in a way that causes irreparable damage to them because of biases that exist in society. It's worth thinking about when you look at your friend groups, when you look at who you interact with in your community, whether it's just something like skin color or socioeconomic status. Like, are you only hanging out with people of a certain tax bracket? And the reason that that's important is, one, when you have connections with multiple different people in multiple genres, opportunities fall into your lap that you never would have thought of. Ideas, jobs, ways to help. And secondly, when you interact with people of various backgrounds in your community, it actually makes your community safer. It's not a you versus them, it's us. It's we. Even if we're not all the same, we're all in it together. And that's the mentality necessary that keeps people safe, that keeps people in a sense of community. You know, the consequence for kids acting up is call the cops or I'm going to call your mother. And guess which one they actually respond to. Anyway, just wanted to put that out there. Love you guys.